Thank you for being with us. This is Khalil Hachem with US Arab Radio. We happy Friday, and we appreciate your taking the time to be with us. The situation in Syria has been tough. The new government has been trying to put the country together. You know, after Assad left and he took a bunch of money with him, he basically bankrupt the country. He left it in a very disturbing, the hasty departure that he did, and all of the mess that he created over the years. He left it all behind, and then now the new government trying to put it back together, trying to negotiate to lift the sanctions. You know, those are really terrible sanctions, and trying to bringing it back together, trying to bring the refugees back, trying to put a government together, trying to heal the country. And then they've been dealing with civil unrest as well. And it's just one thing after another after another. So recently, as you will have heard before, a few months back, where there was a civil unrest in the northern part or the eastern part of the country, and now recently and more unrest on the near Damascus on the Israeli border. Actually, it's a Syrian border because Syria is most of the Golan Heights is still occupied by Israel, and Israel took advantage of that situation, and then it went in and took more land, occupied more land. In that area, the Druze, who are their offshoot of the Islamic religion, live there, and Israel is trying to use them as a pawn to really, instigate a trouble. They are Syrians, and they affiliate themselves with Syria. And there has been some unfortunate incidents with some armed men there. And we're going to be joined, hopefully, with from Syria with a journalist who has been there, has been documented what's going on, and he could share with us what is really going on in the country. And we've heard the reports that they did reach an agreement, and the Syrian government will protect those minorities. The journalist that we're talking about is Omar Almuqdad. He is having a little bit of hard time connecting to us. Things in Syria are not as good as electronically and technologically. They're not as good as they are everywhere else. So hopefully, as soon as he joins us, we will have his voice added to the show. In the meantime, it's just not as easy as you think it is. A group of people take over the country, and now what they're going to do? There is no trust. Of course, the Assad regime was a brutal regime. It was not sectarian, but it was a brutal regime. The Assad family allegedly came from a different sect, but it's just what they did in that country, or what he did in that country over the years. Really destroying the institutions of that country. And then the civil war that ensued there also, nobody is innocent in Syria. At the same time, trying to put a country together, and it's very difficult. In this country, Donald Trump is trying to destroy the system we have, and that's going to take a lot of work to put it back together. In Syria is a lot more complicated because the country is divided. You have the Kurds in the north, you have the Turks on the Syrian border, and then you have there was a lot of Iranian influence there, and that has disappeared, has moved out. And Syria has been caught in that regional war between Israel and Iran. And now, after leaving, Israel is in charge of that area, and carrying on almost daily attacks against Syria. I don't understand, other than creating chaos. I don't understand why Israel would do that. Of course, they want to occupy land and grab land and all of that, but it's just terrible what's really going on there. The Syrians have endorsed tremendous Terrible time. They're all over the world. I think there are like a million Syrians in Lebanon. There are Syrians in Turkey. There are Syrians all over the world. They fled the civil war. They fled the brutal, regime there, the previous regime. And Syria is a beautiful country. Damascus is the oldest, most continuous city in the world. There's a lot of history there. There was a time when Syria did not owe any dime in foreign debts or any other debts. The Syrian people are very talented and great workforce. Syria itself is included a tremendous amount of agriculture, tremendous amount of small industries, nothing major, small industries. Over the years, the Assad family, which ruled Syria over 50 years, did not really create big industries there, but the country was very successful, and Syria had one of the biggest bank of original seeds. This is very important. And I think was robbed by the United States when they went into Syria. But why is that important? Is because most seeds for plants, that is, and for planting, have been modified. And as you will know, genetically modified seeds are not as good as the original seeds. They modify them for for profit, of course. They just play with them so they can become big. They produce bigger crops and make more money. But at the same time, they distort the balance that God intended in that. For example, in wheat. Original wheat in corn and others have very a really good balance, but between protein, between starch, and between other components. And God created that. In the old days when people ate wheat, it really didn't bother him. Today, when wheat was genetically modified, it was modified to resist diseases, I believe. It's also modified to increase starch, and then they move the other things that balances it to make it more addictive. So now when you eat a bread, it's a lot more addictive. So Syria had this incredible bank of seeds there, and that's gone. And currently, the United States occupies an area in Syria. This is where the oil is. Syria has a lot of natural resources that have not been tapped into. And of course, all of these countries are eyeing Syria for how can we steal their resources. And unfortunately, for the Syrians and for the entire Middle East, we don't get people who, leaders, that is, we don't get leaders that look up for the countries themselves. And we end up with what? We end up with chaos. I mean, look at Lebanon, look at Sudan. Sudan has a lot of resources. It's one of the poorest countries in the world. Look at Egypt. Egypt is 120 million people, most of them hungry. And, there was a time in the old days when Egypt, King Farouk, gave the United States a loan. Can you imagine? Now Egypt survives on a few $billions that the United States gives it to really stay afloat. And then okay, and that has really, it should tell you the story, how the story is. I'm told that Omar has joined us. Good morning, Omar.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So what's the situation right now in Syria where you are?
First of all, you might hear the news a few days earlier. There was some tension in some Damascus suburb in Germana and later on Sahnaya. And at the same time, it's the government here, the central government in Damascus, is trying to bring everything under control. But unfortunately, some sides are still playing on the sectarian tension here in Damascus. But things are going to be settled, as I heard here. Damascus, there's not much to talk about. It's the same situation. But in Sahnaya also, the peace has been restored in Jaramana, and hopefully in the coming few days we'll witness more calm to bring more stability into these areas, as I heard from some people around.
So to let us know, understand what's going on. Sahmaya and Jeremiah, these are Syrian towns.
Yeah, these are Syrian Damascus suburbs. These are suburbs
Okay.
of Damascus.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, that's where these incidents took place.
Who lives there?
Well, it's the makeup of these areas is actually it's a very diverse areas. It's Druze. There is Christian minorities also. Sunni Muslims. It's very diverse neighborhoods, in fact.
And the fighting took place between the Druze and somebody else, or what happened exactly?
Yeah. There was an attack that happened in this area by some groups, actually unknown groups, still to this point. And when the fight erupted, the central government tried to bring everything back in order, but uh, then it took the form of sectarianism and sectarian tension, actually, in these areas. But the government has stepped in, and there was a deal happened that the security forces will be in charge in these areas, and not allowing anybody from outside these areas to enter these areas in order to do some harm or to fuel the sectarian tensions in these areas. But the central government has announced that they are committed to bring peace to these areas. They're not tolerating any sectarian languages. I heard from some officials they were talking about this earlier. There was a few meetings happened actually with the leaders in these neighborhoods with the security forces also, and they agreed that things has to be settled down, and the state has to be in charge in these areas.
How far is that area from the Golan Heights?
Well, it's in Damascus suburb, actually. It's a couple of hours driving to the Golan Heights, but you can see the Haramon Mountains from these areas. It's a
Mhm.
pretty close.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What role is Israel playing there?
Well, the Israeli role actually is significant, and it's a very dangerous role. They are trying to fuel sectarianism. Actually, it's not a secret anymore to anybody that Israel
Mhm.
is trying to fuel division inside the country, claiming that they are they care about the Druze sects in Syria. They wanted to protect the Druze, but this is not the case at all. Actually, it's
Sure,
using
sure.
that as justification to interfere in the Syrian business. Actually, the Israeli role is the one that the most dangerous role in all that, as it's trying to fuel sectarianism. Some militias is relying on Israeli support to not allowing the central government to get into these areas, especially in Soweto, in south, and they are. Justifying that they want to protect the Druze. You need to understand something very important here, that the Druze sect is not just one side. There are different sides inside the Druze community. There are the sides who's talking to the central government, trying to solve many of these remaining issues with the government by dialogue, and they are keeping the doors open. But there are also some sides that's relying on Israeli support and saying, okay, we don't want to negotiate, we don't want any dialogue with this government, we don't like it, so forth, so on. But and these are the ones that's relying on Israeli supports, and these are the ones that Israel claiming day and night that they want to protect, and they don't want the central government to be there or to be in charge in these areas. So yeah, the Israeli role in all that is significant and is very dangerous at this point.
Why do you think Israel is doing that?
Well, for Israel, it's kind of uh, an opportunity they found right now after Assad regime fell. They wanted Syria to be divided, weak. They don't want Syria to stand on its feet back again, and they want to keep Syria drowning in its divisions because that's what they think it represents in the long run. That's why to bring back the Golan Heights issue into the table, and they don't want that. They want some concessions from Syria in terms of this, and maybe a normalization of relations with Israel, or a peace deal that would end this according to Israeli conditions.
Yeah.
But this is not the case at all right now. Actually, it's the central government is trying, and the interim government is trying to just send a strong message to Israel that we're not in a position to attack or to harm or anybody here. We're just trying to build the country and to bring the country together, and then any problems can be solved through dialogue.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the government has a lot on its plate. The last thing it needs is to deal with something like that. You know, it's not easy to clean up after the mess that was left by the Assad regime. The government must be really overwhelmed by this issue because there's so much to do.
Exactly. I mean, at this point, Syria needs a lot of work in terms of services, the economy. You know, the sanctions has to be lifted, so in order to the country to operate, everything now is just freeze in place, and nobody can do anything without the sanctions being lifted on the country. The government has a lot of challenges ahead of it, and the top of these challenges is how to stabilize the economy. You know, economy is also playing a significant role in all of that. You know, people at the end of the day, they have daily needs. They need the services to come back, electricity, things like this, and the government can't do a lot in this regard without sanctions lifted on the country. So it is important to realize that economy is also a key to stability in all of
absolutely
this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Omar, we're going to take a short break. Please stay with us, okay?
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Life for Relief and Development has now been rated as one of the best charities for humanitarian aid. Life's humanitarian projects span the globe, and Life is celebrating its 30th anniversary of providing essential life-saving aid to people and communities in 36 countries, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. Where there is life, there is hope. And when disaster occurs here or around the world, including being one of the first responders to the Turkey-Syria earthquake crisis, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. We are looking to help the earthquake victims, and we take 0% overhead on emergency donations. So please help improve these efforts. Learn more about our involvement to help the helpless and bring hope where it's needed most. And make your tax-deductible donation to Life for Relief and Development now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493. That's 248-424-7493.
Behind the scenes, Michigan's public health team is working to make Michiganders across the state healthier, bringing healthcare closer to home with mobile clinics, increasing access to healthy food through farmers markets and WIC, doing hearing and vision screenings in schools, helping families navigate healthcare challenges. Learn more about how public health workers protect us all at michigan.gov/public health. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
A car accident can change your life in an instant. As a result of a car accident, you may become unemployed. As a result of a car accident, you may need a lot of medical treatment. People think that insurance companies are on their side. Why? Because they're giving them one or two benefits. Are they giving them all the benefits they deserve? How would one know unless you consult with an attorney? Call the law offices of Rumana Kiruz at 248-557-3645. 248-557-3645.
Welcome back, and thank you for being with us. This is Khalil Hachem. We're talking with Omar Almuqdad. He is a journalist. He's also a filmmaker. and he's with us from Syria on the phone. Omar, traditionally, the Druze are a very peaceful community there, and they seem to be like caught up in this situation. And again, I've been to the Golan Heights years and years ago, and they were really wonderful people to welcome us. It must be they did say that they do want to work with the government, and they rejected the Israeli overreach. Do you hear any more of like reconciliation from the Druze community there?
Well, of course, as I mentioned before, the Druze are not just one solid line. There are a lot of views, and you have the party Al Rijal Al Karama, which is part of the Syrian revolution against Bashar Assad. These people are committed to the principles of the Syrian revolution, who wants to cooperate, work with the government. They want the doors to stay open. They want the dialogue to stay in place. If there is any issues, we have any concerns, we can address that with the government in Damascus. We can solve this. They reject any international interference in their business. They say we are Syrians, and that's their line. And then you have those Hikmat al-Hajari side, those who are historically known to operate with the Syrian regime, to cooperate with the Syrian regime, and these are the sides that they are seen in line with Israel, with Israeli leaders' speech, let's say, and. So these are the ones that they leading the tension with the central government. Not all the Druze. The Druze, yes, they consider themselves to be part of Syria. They insist on this one. And just last night, while we're talking, Laith al-Bal'ous, the head of the Rijal al-Karama party, said very clearly that we are not in a situation to Syria is Damascus is our capital, Syria is our country. We're not letting anybody to go between us and the government. We can solve anything with the government by sit down and just keep the talk going on. So, but the problem is now, as I said, is with Hikmat al-Hajari side. That's where the problem relies.
Yeah,
actually, the doors in Damascus are open always, and there are many delegations from Druze sects met with the President Ahmed al-Shara. They have met with the meetings are happening actually with the governor of Suwaida. There are a lot of meetings happening already, so there's no need for this tension to begin with, as long as the doors are open for dialogue and for talk. But the side that has been influenced by Israel greatly is Hikmat al-Hajari side. I believe they tend to think that they are in a strong position. They can get some concessions from the government. So I don't know what exactly they are aiming at this point, except that just no deal with this government. And this is exactly what Israel wants. Exactly. So that's where the problem relies, in fact. So not all the Druze. So I always
percentage wise, how big is that faction?
They look at Suwaida, not to look at it as just one solid line, and this is what the Druze wants. Is not factual, but Druze are different views, different point of views is there. You can sense that while talking to people.
Yeah. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take a short break.
With more than 30,000 successful in vitro fertilizations, IVF Michigan is now ranked as one of America's best fertility clinics, according to Newsweek magazine. IVF Michigan fertility centers are the recognized leaders in high-quality fertility care. With locations in Bloomfield Hills and 9 other cities in Michigan and Ohio, IVF has experts in all aspects of the field. A founding member, American board-certified Dr. Nicholas Shama, is one of the leading reproductive endocrinologists in Michigan and Ohio. He has performed over 20,000 successful IVF cases, and it's helped thousands of couples fulfill their dreams of parenthood. When it's time to get personalized care from Dr. Nicholas Shama at one of America's best fertility clinics, call IVF Michigan Fertility Centers in Michigan and Ohio toll-free at 855-952-9600. 855-952-9600.
Every year in Michigan, approximately 3,000 people die of drug overdose. Today's drugs are more addictive and deadlier than ever before. Most street opioids tested contain a potentially lethal dose of fentanyl. Drug overdoses are preventable, keeping the lock zone on hand. Together, we can change the statistics. Learn how to save lives at michigan.gov/SUD. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Welcome back and thank you for being with us. We're talking with Omar Almuqdad. He is a journalist in Syria and a filmmaker. How big is that faction with the Hikmat people there? Those are the they are working with Israel right now.
Well, it's not that dominant. It's definitely is not dominant in Suwaida. As I say, there's a lot of factions operating on the ground, and most of these factions is actually in favor of keeping the talk with the central government in Damascus. But there is also the military council. These are the remaining of Assad regime loyalists that gather there, and those who just wants to fight the government without being clear about their objects at the end of this, the end of the story here. So we don't know what exactly these people are aiming for, what they want, as long as the government is kept its doors open for dialogue.
Yeah. How's living conditions in Syria right now? Is the government able to deliver like basic services right now?
Well, yeah, definitely. The everything is within the people reach, but the prices is really high. You can tell the problem now is the infrastructure needs a lot of work in terms of services. They are working so hard in improving the services to the civilians here. There was some improvement in terms of electricity, it was. Now is the start. We can witness some improvement in electricity here in Damascus, in particular. The prices is really high. The lot of the shadow of the war that's been happening here in Syria is still. You can see the images of the brutal war that happened around, especially in Damascus, suburban Daraya, and elsewhere. As I mentioned before, a lot of challenges are facing the interim government in terms of this. But I've been talking to some officials here. They say, okay, we're trying so hard, but without the sanctions being lifted,
yes,
we can't do much. Actually, this is the key to. This is the answer to all the questions.
Absolutely.
Actually, when the sanctions being lifted on Syria, then companies can come back here, operate, there will be jobs, opportunities, and things might change radically once the sanctions just
are lifted.
Be lifted on Syria.
Yeah. Now, what the why aren't they lifted? I mean, the Assad is gone. This government is working with the U.S. Why don't they just lift the sanctions? I don't understand it. Well, what do they want?
Exactly. Well, one of the things actually, there's a common sense here that's this sanction has been used as a political card, a tool for pressure on this government. Some governments has concerns that due to the background of some of these Syrian officials, the current officials in the interim government, they have really, let's say, concerns about being Islamists or radicals, or they want to implement Sharia law in the country, which is
not true.
They're not really interested in that at this point.
Yeah.
Syria is a very diverse country. It can't be ruled by religion and by these ideas. But yeah, these governments is still, as the United States mentioned many times, they are watching the behavior of this government to see if the behavior fits the narrative that this government is moderate, it's not radicals, that some people try to exaggerate in the media. But as yeah, these are the concerns. But for me, as Syrians who came from the United States, living now in Damascus, I don't see these radicalism in the streets of Damascus. There is some incidents, individual incidents, left and right, but it's not as people try to project in that in the media, is trying to show it as no, this is the case. Actually, there's a lot of exaggeration, in fact,
Sure,
when
sure.
it comes to the what's really happening on the ground. And in my opinion, the government is not trying any way to enforce any form of radicalism in the people. I can see a woman walking freely down the streets without hijab. Nobody's bothering them. The bars are still operating in old Damascus here. They're still selling alcohol. There's no, I can't say that there's some conservatism or radicalism has been implemented, or any religious appearances in the country, at least here in Damascus. Of course, that I can't deny the fact that there is some incidents happened left and right by some
Sure, sure.
elements in the security forces, but these people, turns out, they are acting on their own individually, and the government is not tolerated that at all.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really impressed of how quickly this government is trying to put the country back together. I mean, this is a country that was neglected for years and years and years by the former regime. And then all of the civil war and all the people who were killed and driven away from the country. It's not easy to rebuild the country from ruins. I mean, it's
from scratch.
Yeah, even more than scratch. I mean, scratch is when you have
people don't
but from ruins.
How the country, what's the country been through?
Exactly.
And we're talking here about rebuilding an entire country from scratch.
Yeah. One thing people need to understand is that it is in everybody's interest to have a really strong government in Syria, a government that is able to deliver services and protect everybody there. Yes, there are going to be some problems here and there, but it seems that they're getting less and less and less, and hopefully they will try to resist the intervention from outside, like from Israel to to really ruin the situation for the Syrians.
Right, you're absolutely right on this one. Actually, it's a lot of work needs to be done here, but the government is trying so hard. I can see that. They are listening. Actually, this is what I really like about them here in Damascus.
Yeah.
They're listening to critics, and they're trying to adjust always. That's a very good sign. So, but the resources is very limited between their hands. So they're trying so hard to work what's there, what they have right now is not much.
Yeah, are refugees returning to Syria?
Well, I met a lot of people are coming from Europe. Actually, many refugees. I read some numbers that some people talking about. 1 million already back to Syria, and we're expecting before 2025 ends another the number to be doubled down.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are coming back regardless of this security concerns and the economic challenges, but and that's a proof that Syrian people they don't want to be refugees. Actually, they just want to go back to their homes.
Yeah.
And
one thing people don't understand
on this one.
Yeah. Now, refugees from Lebanon, are they a good number of them returning so far? Do you know?
I don't have exact numbers, but I've been hearing a lot that people are coming back. Some people, they even went to their devastated homes and trying to fix them and to start living in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that came as a surprise to me. So yeah, you can see a lot of people. I met a lot of people coming from Europe, even from the United States. I met a couples last night in old Damascus, and the people are just now gearing up to come back to Syria, and some others still waiting to see some serious improvements in terms, as I say, the economy and the services in the country, so they can lead a normal life at least here once
Absolutely.
in
Absolutely.
Damascus or elsewhere.
It's not easy to move from ruins into democracy. It doesn't work out that way. You have to go through a security phase, then you go into somewhat democratic. And this is why I give this government a lot of credit for trying to protect everybody while they're doing the security phase. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I agree with you on this one. Yes, exactly. I mean, they've been trying so hard. I can see that, actually. I can see that live. And it happens that I've been talking to a lot of these elements, security forces, elements in the here in the streets of Damascus. Everywhere I see them, I stop by and to try to have some conversation to understand them. Well, it seems to me these people are very local, the Syrian people, the people we used to see and know growing up, and they're not as people think they are. And they just have a very strict orders not to interfere in people's lives, just to serve and to protect. That's the orders they have. And I've been talking to, actually, I talked to dozens of them everywhere I go.
Yeah. For the benefit of listeners, because we have listeners who really don't understand what's going on. Syria was, in the middle of a civil war from the previous regime, which has really destroyed the country, have different factions. The economy is devastated, the industries are devastated, everything is devastated. And then all of a sudden, the Assad leaves with a bunch of money. Of course, he stole the money from the people, and then this was handed to these guys, and now they're trying to deal with all of these factions and all of these issues and all of these problems all at once. This is not really an easy thing, and I hope that Syrians realize that it is what it is. This is what they have. They need to make it work. Don't you think?
Yes, I agree with you. These things needs to settle down, and we need a cool-headed people here.
Yeah.
And just to realize what the country has been through, and it needs a lot of work to just see the difference between the past and what's happening.
I appreciate what you do, trying to really inform the world on what's going on in Syria and focusing on the positive things there. This is tremendous work that you guys are doing.
Yeah. Oh, we've been trying actually so hard to send messages to even we met with some American officials here, with European, and also trying to just explain the situation as it is on the ground, and without being to be factually correct about what's really happening here and what the world needs to hear about Syria right now, not just heavily politicized opinions, about the events that's happening right now here in Damascus and elsewhere. So we're trying to just inform that this is what's happening, this is what's need to be done, and this is what role you guys can play in order to support and help Syria recover.
As far as food and everything, can you buy everything? I know everything is expensive. Can you buy whatever you want, whatever you need?
Oh yeah, I was in Sham City Center Mall last night. Actually, I bought some American goods. I was surprised to find some American stuff there. I even had my coffee. They have Lavazza. It's very nice.
As far as food, everything is
within the people reach. Yeah, everything is, but it's very expensive. To be honest with you.
Yeah. As far as food and medicine, are they available?
Yeah. The hospitals start working in full capacity.
Yeah.
Uh, yes, pharmacies everywhere is open, yeah, medicine is within the civilian reach.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to sound naive, but I know that there are factions there, ISIS remnants, people who want to take revenge on others. I know these things are there, and that's normal after what happened in Syria. But I think it's important that everybody really understands that to put the country back together, they need to work together. And it's going to take time to impose law and order and create the confidence for for the Syrians to come back and build their country. And and as you well know, only Syrians can build their country. Nobody's going to come in and build it for you. Isn't that correct?
Correct. Yeah, these challenges, as I keep saying, it was expected all along. I mean, we expected that it's not going to be an easy transition. Is going to be a lot of challenges, security challenges. People with a sense of revenge uh, for what happened to them during the Syrian regime. This is why we keep insisting on speeding up the justice process. Those who committed the crimes against the humanity, and those who committed war crimes against Syrians to be brought to justice. This would help ease down all this tension, and then to focus on these gangs that's trying to operate ISIS and others who's trying to destabilize the country.
Yeah.
And that requires a lot of unity here in the Syrian society to fight these groups and to bring them out of the picture here in Syria.
Yeah. Have the Russians have they left yet?
Well, I think the vast majority of the Russian forces has left the country, yes, and what's remain here is just a few posts. They might be like leaving soon.
Yeah. It's just there's too many people are really getting involved in Syria, which they shouldn't. I mean, Syria now needs support for them to get back on their feet, and having a strong government there is very important. What is the last question is, what is the government really thinking about in regard to Israel? What's going to happen there?
Well, the official position of the government right now that they are not in a situation to impose any threat on any regional country.
Yeah.
They understand that Syria now is in a phase of being rebuilt, brought together. We don't want to attack. We don't want to harm. Syria is not going to be a starting point to impose any threats on the regional countries. And they are open to have some sort of agreements with Israel to go back to 1974 agreements, where Israel just withdraw from the buffer zone and go back to the initial border, where it started with some new security agreements between the two countries that would address the Israeli concerns and address the Syrian interest, preserve the Syrian interest in this.
Yeah.
This is so far, but we still see where this is going.
Yeah.
Is the United States going to play a role on this one or not? We still don't know.
Yeah. People need to eat first, then they can think about other things.
Yeah.
They need to eat, they need medicine, they need electricity, they need services, then they can think about other things. And this is what a lot of people don't really think about that.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Syria is a beautiful country, and traditionally Syria is not a sectarian country. People live together from Muslims, Christians, Druze, Yazidis, all kind of nationalities. They all live together. It's unfortunate what you see right now, and people distorting the news from Syria.
That's absolutely right. Actually, the Syrian regime has played the sectarian war, sectarian card. They has really fueled it over the last 14 years, trying to turn Syrians against each other, because this is how we can prevail. without doing that. So, but now hopefully we can go back to our senses and understand that. So at the end of the day, Assyrians can they have just each other backs, and
Yeah.
this is the only way to survive.
Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't only the regime that played that card. Some Arab countries did, Israel did, the United States did. So, there were so many people who played that sectarian card, unfortunately, including the government itself. So, one thing though about the Assad regime was not really a sectarian regime. So they may have played the card, but they were not really sectarian themselves. And they're gone now. Are there any calls in Syria to bring Assad back for trial?
Yeah, actually, it was a strike. We heard that the president has requested from Russia officially to turn him into the Syrian authorities so he can be persecuted. And
he should, he should.
But they said that this United States has rejected this. Sorry, Russia has rejected this this request. I'm not sure where are they now on this one.
Yeah. He should be brought back for to answer for all the crimes that he did in that country. Final thoughts, Omar, before we let you go.
Well, the final thoughts I had in my mind now is just a lot of what we hear in the media has been exaggerated. It is not as it looks. It's a situation on the ground here. It's improving. It's it's slow. It's true.
Yeah.
But improving every day. A lot of challenges ahead of the interim governments, and I'm really optimistic about the future of Syria if things kept going in this direction.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Omar, for being with us. Please be safe, and hopefully next time when we talk, things are going to be much better.
Sure, absolutely. Hope so.
Thank you. We're going to take a short break. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you going to start a restaurant or grocery store soon? Do you need floor plans and designs? Call Naji Abood at 734-744-9796. Do you want to buy kitchen and restaurant equipment at discount prices? Call Naji Abood now, 734-744-9796. New Concept Products and Design, the trademark of kitchen equipment. 5% discount on all purchases of $75,000 or more. New Concept Products and Design. New location, 31185 Schoolcraft in Livonia. Learn more at www.newconceptproducts.com. Call Naji Abood, 734-744-9796.
Behind the scenes, Michigan's public health team is working to make Michiganders across the state healthier, bringing healthcare closer to home with mobile clinics, increasing access to healthy food through farmers markets and WIC, doing hearing and vision screenings in schools, helping families navigate healthcare challenges. Learn more about how public health workers protect us all at michigan.gov/public health. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
A car accident can change your life in an instant. As a result of a car accident, you may become unemployed. As a result of a car accident, you may need a lot of medical treatment. People think that insurance companies are on their side. Why? Because they're giving them one or two benefits. Are they giving them all the benefits they deserve? How would one know unless you consult with an attorney? Call the law offices of Jumana Kiruz at 248-557-3645. 248-557-3645.
Welcome back, and thank you for being with us. I would like to thank Layla for arranging for this interview. This is we got a really good view from somebody who is in Damascus, who has seen what's going on. And again, Syria is a beautiful country and has been under tremendous stress, if that's the right word, and destruction. And it's not easy to put a country back together. And yes, I mean, the people in charge now may have had some questionable past, but who isn't in the Middle East that is in government right now. So one thing I got to give him a credit for is that they're trying to navigate tremendous hurdles to get to bringing the country back together. It's just not easy. All of a sudden, you handed a country that is in ruins, and where you have Turkey on one side, where you have, Iran on one side, then when you have Israel on one side, okay, Iran is no longer part of the equation because they did leave Syria. And I must also mention that the Iranians pledged their support to make, for the new government, because they do understand that this was not in their best interest to really create problems in Syria. And then, what's going on between Turkey and Israel, and then all of the sectarian little problems there. It's going to take time for the government to impose its authority and, focus on the necessities first. Make sure that there is law and order, make sure there's food, there's medicine, there's electricity, that things are working, to encourage Syrians to come back and build their own country. And I hope that some Syrians are listening to me today. Only you can build your country, okay? Only you, by working together and ignoring the sectarianism, ignoring the voices from outside, no matter where they come from in the region, ignore them. This is the only way that you can build your own country. You have a beautiful country full of resources. Your biggest asset are the people. Syrians are very intelligent people, well educated. And look at all over the world, the doctors and engineers and all of the Syrians that they're very successful. This is your biggest asset. So you need to really work together. And hopefully that next time we report on this, we have better news. And it's work in progress, and it's slowly working together. And sometimes we're going to have some bad news. Sometimes, hopefully, we're going to have good news. And unfortunately, only bad news travel fast. So this is why, you hear a war here, war there, but you really don't hear the progress, what's going on the ground. So it's really unfortunate. And then you look at the Middle East, you look at Syria, you look at Lebanon, what's going on in Lebanon right now. Israel is bombing Lebanon every day, is going after people every day. Lebanese don't like each other. This is the biggest problem in Lebanon, is Lebanese don't like each other. You have different factions in Lebanon. Lebanon was in a civil war for a long time, and Lebanese don't like each other. And I don't care what they say. And if they tell you we do love each other, they're lying to you. They don't like each other. Okay. Israel has been attacking southern Lebanon since 1948. Other factions in Lebanon, Christians and others and Sunnis and others feel like, and all the people that are away from the South feel this is a problem between the South and Israel. We don't care about that. They never cared about that. And they never worked to protect it. I mean, look at today. You see the president of Lebanon traveling from one country to another, taking photos, and Israel is attacking his country. Okay. The prime minister is busy trying to deal with other things instead of really protecting the people of southern Lebanon. So people don't like each other in Lebanon. Unless they like each other, that country is not going to get any better. Okay. I have news for them. If they don't like each other, if they don't work together, if they bypass the sectarians, you can't, it's just not going to work. Who cares? The world doesn't care. You're suffering. Same thing for the Syrians. If you guys don't get together and then build your own country, people are not going to come in and build it for you. If you're going to get somebody from the outside, they want something. They've always want something. And you have a lot of natural resources in Syria. So work together, guys. Rebuild your own beautiful country. And hopefully that will happen. Before I let you go, this is something very important that you guys need to know. Two things, actually. Number one is that if you have regular driver license, there are two different kinds of driver license here in the States. There's one that's a regular one, and there's one called enhanced. And if you travel on a plane, you need to have the enhanced one. You need to go to the Secretary of State, apply for that one. It's very easy. You fill out a form, you pay a little money, they give you an enhanced one. Enhanced one, it has one extra layer of security that allows you to get on a plane and to go where you need to go. So it's important you do that. And now, as of today, you cannot fly unless you have a passport. If you don't have a passport, they will not let you fly with a regular driver's license. So call the Secretary of State, make an appointment, go get one if you're going to get on a plane anywhere. If you have a passport, it's okay. But if you don't have a passport, it's good to have. I got it. It's very easy. It's very simple. Issue number two is the housing market. As you well know, I'm in real estate. The housing market is getting better. We have a lot of movement right now, and we have quite a bit of buyers. We have sellers, and we need more inventory. We need more homes. I have several buyers looking for homes in Dearborn Heights, in Plymouth, in Livonia. You know, they need good homes, okay? If you have a good home to sell, let me know at 313-819-0101. It's very important that we get you back on. We have several projects. We have several offers, you know, listings for commercial. If you're interested in any commercial project, let me know. You know, I have several opportunities for investments. They're really good investments. 313-819-0101. So don't hesitate. If you like me to take a look at what you have and whether it really works or not for you, whether you should sell or not, okay, we'll be more than happy to do consultation with you. I do a lot of these consultations, and I explain to you, I'm not motivated by money. I'm motivated by serving you. And serving you is telling you, listen, you should buy and sell today. No, you should not. You should wait a little bit, and I will do that. Okay, the Lord provides. I'm not after the commission check. Okay, I'm after providing you the help you need. So 313-819-0101. Thank you everyone for, you know, our team and our production manager Mike. Thank you to Layla for arranging this interview. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for listening, and you have a wonderful and safe weekend. Bye now.